Alright, so tonight's video is going to be entirely about gear. So if you don't want to know about like the gear I use or how I shoot any of my videos, then I'm sorry, you should probably just check in at another time. Alright, so I don't spend like a ton of money on gear just because I don't have a ton of money to spend on gear, and it's absolutely necessary for me to be spending a ton of money on gear. But in terms of cameras, the three things, I shoot videos with 3 different devices. The main device that I typically go to is the one that you are looking at right now, the one I'm looking at right now. It is a Canon Vixia HF R30, probably like 7-8 years old maybe. That seems kind of old, but it's like an older camcorder. It works super well, and I have absolutely no problems with it. I love it to death. I use it all the time. Super reliable. But that's what I usually will shoot with. Now there are like alternating scenarios where I will shoot with this. This is a GoPro Hero 2. I got this thing, I actually said this in the intro to VidClaster video. I got this in 2011. It was pretty much right after this thing came out. And you know, it is an older camera. It shoots in 1080p, which is pretty sick, especially for being an older camera. But I use it all the time. Actually, I don't use this thing that much anymore, just because I'm not using it. I would only really use it if I was going like underwater or something like that, or doing something where I needed to mount a camera rather than, you know, just like set it up on a desk like you are with this, like you see with this camera that I'm looking at right now. But yeah, I love this camera. It's an older camera. I'm sure if you could buy one, it'd be super cheap right now just because it's like a much older model. But if you want to have a GoPro, and you can find one of these on like Amazon or something, definitely get it. It's a super awesome camera. I love it. The other thing that I shoot on is my iPhone 7. This shoots up to 4K 30 FPS, I believe. I don't use it a ton, but the entire video for my trip to Nashville, I shot on my phone, which like was the first time I've ever done that. But I probably won't be shooting 4K that much just because it takes up a lot of space that I don't really have. Now, when I'm shooting the actual video with the camera that the one that I'm shooting on right now, what I started off using was this. This is a mount that is intended for a to mount a GoPro with, because it has this design on it, which like mounts for a GoPro, and then there's like the little screw that goes into it and connects them. But I didn't want to have to buy anything different, and I was like, you know, there must be some device out there that could connect this so it would be, you know, adaptable for a regular like DSLR or, you know, camcorder. So I actually found these on Amazon, and it screws right in to the bottom of the camcorder, and it connects right to this. I use this not as much as I used to again, but I still use it periodically. It's just a simple handle, but it's much easier than just holding the camera. You don't get as close of a face shot that's like kind of awkward, and I don't really mess with those kind of shots. They make me uncomfortable when I'm editing video to see my face that close up. I don't want to see it. I can't imagine other people want to see it. So I usually like to do things that kind of give distance. Now, this thing is just you hold it with your hand. That's all it does, right? But if I'm trying to take like another video that is like a time lapse or something, I will use this. This thing is not light. This thing is heavy, the tripod. And the thing that I love about this is like it's super stable, which is really good with its weight and everything. I use this a lot. I use this for almost every time lapse that I do. And when you see me shooting at this desk, for the most part, I will be shooting with this, but I have to pull my desk out, which is like, it's like such a basic problem, but it takes like 10 minutes to set up a shoot when I'm shooting at my desk. Even just for a simple vlog video, because if I put this on my desk, the base at its lowest point, it's too high for me to feel comfortable to be able to like talk to it. So I've been like avoiding doing what I've done, and what like I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, that I'm gonna share with you now. So my dilemma was that This is great for holding when you're like, you know, walking around or doing whatever. This is great for when you're doing time lapses and you're not really talking to the camera, but it doesn't set up on my desk well. So I solved that problem. Now, you see a lot of vloggers doing this. It's a really, really common thing. And I avoided it for a while because I was like, oh man, like, that's so basic. But I really started to see a need for it. I saw like an absolute need for it recently. And it's because I do a lot more desk shots than I do when I'm like home for the summer, going on trips and stuff like that, talking to the camera. But this isn't just good for a desk thing. It's good for like an all-around, just versatile means. And what I actually did was I bought a bendable tripod here. I'm trying to pull up because I don't have like a mirror at the ready, so this is, yeah, there you can kind of see it. So I bought this bendable tripod by Joby. It's like the basic one that everybody uses for the most part, or at least the company. So now I have these 3 stands, I have those 3 cameras, and then when it comes to editing, I have an external hard drive. This is by Seagate. It's a disk hard drive. It's not a solid state. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive that all my footage is on here. And then the other thing that I do is I shoot on a 2015 model. I think it like went up to 2016. It's not the newest MacBook Pro, but it's like the one right before the newest MacBook Pro. That's what I edit on. And in terms of editing software, I edit on Adobe Premiere. All my original movies were edited on iMovie, but within the past couple of months, I made the switch to Premiere. Not that iMovie's not like great and everything, but you know, there's a lot more that you can do with Premiere that you can't do with iMovie. It's, you know, like if you're a first time like, you know, editor or whatever, and you're just trying to kind of learn the ropes, I 100% recommend iMovie if you have an Apple device that like yields you being able to use it. But if you don't have an Apple device, because it comes standard on like all Apple devices, but if you don't have an Apple device, I would without a doubt recommend Premiere. I think it's absolutely great. Never crashes. I never have issues with it whatsoever. It's amazing. The last thing would have to be probably the lighting. I try to make lighting in my videos as like best as I possibly can. And I'm not working with any professional tools in any degree whatsoever. But there's this basic light lamp that I use on my desk, and I used to have 2 of them, but this bulb burnt out, so now I'm only shooting with 1. So if you ever see that, like, a shot where it's like one half of my face is just like a little bit shadowy, has a little bit more of a shadow than the other one, it's because I try to center that on my desk as best as I can, but because it's such a strong light, there's probably going to be a shadow no matter what. I don't really have anything to like dull out the light. But that's it. That's my gear review on everything that I use. Honestly, I would recommend anything that I told you. But, oh, and the other thing, I don't have it with me right here. It's actually at home because I can't use it in the city. I'd probably get fined or, you know, something with the FAA. But it's my drone. It's a Potensik F183. I use that a lot when I'm home. It's much easier to fly in the country or like in the suburbs. I sound like I'm from the middle of nowhere. It's great to fly like in the suburbs, but I don't fly it in the city. Anyway, that's my gear review. Hope you enjoyed. And actually, no, I forgot one other thing. My backpack. It's just a basic North Face, but this is where I take all my like stuff with me. I just throw it all in there. I don't have any crazy tactical backpack with all these little individual slots for my I just don't need it. It's like, it's too high maintenance. I'm more focused on just getting the shot. And if my backpack can get my gear there, I don't really care. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. And that's gear review.